All right, everyone, we start off today with something this is a positive story, and this is something that Trump's not going to actually get credit for it from people on the left, but arguably for something like this probably would more than he would from some of the neocons on the right that are like, what's best for the corporation is best for everyone. That is that his FDA is rolling out a new rule that, when you see ads from pharma companies for the latest drug that invariably causes diarrhea and heart attack as a side effect, you're actually going to see the price of that drug on there. And the idea, the Trump's idea, the reason he's managing to sell this to people on the right is he's saying, well, this will cause lower costs. Because when people see how much the pill or the device or whatever the procedure costs, then they'll be incentivized to lower that cost to make it more palatable to the consumer that potentially is being advertised to. And so if it's on TV or radio, you're going to have to do that. Now, I'm not sure if this would take effect on internet-based ads, because that's a little bit different because the internet hasn't been rendered a public utility. Largely outside of government control, which in itself, as we see, has become a problem in too. So I support this. This is one of the few ways in which intervention by the government in a bureaucratic sense can be helpful. This could lower prices. It could actually cause more competition because there will be that rush to lower the price to something. You don't want to put your new pill, it cures flatulence or something. Oh, it's only $900 per bottle or something. Yeah, that's probably not going to fly. Normally, you go to the doctor pitches it to you, and then you find out, the true cost maybe down the line or something when the generics run out, which they almost inevitably do. This will be a good thing, I think. Normally, bureaucracy is negative. Normally what bureaucracy does is say, okay, we're going to regulate this product, we're going to regulate the service, here's 100 pages of legalese red tape, and it makes it more expensive. This, though, will make it less expensive, arguably. I mean, it's magical how that works. This is how government is meant to administer something like this. Regulation should not abuse private industry, it should try to encourage and promulgate it as much as possible. If you're causing lower drug prices, everybody wins. It'll be funny, though. I'll bet anything that some people on the left will find a way to bitch about it, though. I can almost guarantee that they will say, well, it would have been better to just encourage more generics or something, which, isn't entirely wrong, but they're not going to give him credit. In fact, you won't see this probably widely reported on at all unless they spin it. CNN's headline will be, Trump embraces his inner regulator or something like this. Trump agrees that the FDA is great and regulating things is wonderful and has adopted socialism. They'll do some stupid shit like that instead of just telling it straight. This is actually, ironically, a CNN article, link archived, of course, link in the description. So it's very interesting. I strongly support this because the pharma companies are really one of the central reasons that our healthcare system is fucked. Because right now, because there's so little competition in our healthcare system with regards to insurance, drugs, medical devices and stuff, the prices are astronomical. They shouldn't be so high. When people say, well, we have the most expensive healthcare system in the world. Yes, because we hyper-regulate everything. It wasn't like that when we had a more capitalistic, laissez-faire medical model in which the only real intervention was we subsidized some basic care for people who couldn't pay for it. And much of that was at the local and state level. That system worked. When the government came in and began hyper-regulating things and applying heavy-handed bureaucracy over the last half-century to our medical system, it became more and more expensive. Ironically, the people hurt by this are the poor and the lower middle class. It doesn't hurt the super rich, the tippy tops that were supposed to pay for everything. It's peanuts to them. They don't care. What ends up happening instead is that even junk plans, junk insurance that used to be even cheaper before Obamacare it got rid of them basically, even those junk plans are expensive. Some junk plan that pays fucking 20% of catastrophic and maybe half of your pill price and that's all is still onerously expensive for anyone who wasn't at least in the upper rungs of the solid working class, if not outright middle class. It doesn't make any sense. Our healthcare system is at once highly intervened in, and yet at the same time there's no real market competition that's lowering the prices. We don't have enough interstate competition. We don't even allow international competition into a lot of our healthcare markets. And so it doesn't work. The system doesn't work. This is one step in the right direction. Getting rid of the mandate was another. Scrapping Obamacare entirely is another. You need to replace it with a healthcare overhaul. Preferably, I think if Trump wins in 2020, gets a Republican House, he'll move to replace Obamacare with something more streamlined. That should be a hyper-capitalistic bill. My problem is this. Other than Trump, do I believe that many other people at national level politics aren't controlled, at least in part, by a pharma company? No. Most of them, the handful of the progressives aren't. In all honesty, like a Sanders, I don't think he takes money from GlaxoSmithKline, whatever the fuck it is now. I don't think so. Then again, though, his basic economic model would be free healthcare for all, aka more taxes. So it'd be even worse. Yeah, I'd rather, yes, Obamacare, bad as it is arguably better than the kind of things that the people on the far left are proposing, because none of them are proposing actually getting rid of the regulatory structure that's causing the cost to be so high. If you did that, yeah, you probably could have free healthcare. You could probably even pay for it without harming the middle or even upper middle classes. Nobody's got the will to do it. And if Sanders were president and proposed it, it wouldn't happen anyway, because most of the Democrats also take money from the pharma companies. It's like asking them to regulate Silicon Valley. Big, horrible idea. What'll end up happening is that they'll pass bills favorable to the big tech companies in exchange for peanuts to promote, freedom or something like that online, and then everyone else would get regulated out of business. Smaller firms would dry up. Then you'd have a situation, they'd have more power than ever. And they would slowly strip back those regulations, those burdens, because they basically control Congress. That's what the pharma companies would love to do. They'd love free healthcare to be passed. Again, free in quotations. They would love to have single payer or Medicare for all or whatever the fuck new label they invent for it next week. They would love that to be passed because there's still no competition. They'd still be making money hand over fist. They'd become even more monopolized. But having consumers aware of things is one of the few regulatory systems that I believe is truly necessary, like even safety precautions and stuff in business. No, but the worker needs to understand that they may be in a hazardous situation. Everything should be voluntary. Voluntary action, consent, requires information. It requires knowledge. So the government should promote the idea that businesses should give people knowledge. Like, when they have 1,000 pages of legalese before you get a loan or something, that should be more streamlined. Make things more efficient, more quick, more easy for the average person. The whole system becomes less expensive and more fair. It's just like GMO labeling. Yeah, I support GMO labeling. Is it a regulation? Yes, but it's a regulation that prevents victimhood by allowing knowledge. Anything that suppresses knowledge is usually a bad thing. That's why I support WikiLeaks, and I'm happy to tell people that I do. So yeah, I support this. I think it's a good idea. So now on Fox News, when you see your geriatric liver pill commercial, the grandma will know how much the geriatric liver pill actually will cost, or likely cost, before insurance kicks in, which half the time probably doesn't cover it anyway. She's probably sharing cat food with her cat, 3 nights a week just to make ends meet in order to be able to buy her liver pills. That's the way it works for anyone who's in the lower or working class these days. It's a really sad situation because really, in the most successful, wealthy nation in the world, there's no particular reason that should be happening. But I'll tell you the reason is bad government. Not the free market. Free market didn't fail. The free market was suppressed and made everything more expensive. That's about all. Peace out.